markets in it, of course.
Exactly. You're talking about Crimea, aren't you? The market's been reacting to it.
Yes, we'll start with the market in Moscow. In fact, analysts saying this really will be the biggest factor affecting the markets this week. Of course, we saw the Russian market fall dramatically in recent weeks after the crisis has been unfolding in Ukraine. The MICEX index in Moscow today trading back in positive territory, up about 1.2% after the result of that referendum in Crimea. That is, though, in the context of massive losses in recent weeks, and really doesn't even begin to earn back some of the money that's flown out of that market. This comes as Russia's deputy economy minister has warned the country's economy is in crisis. No great movement on the European markets today, though, as a result of that Crimean referendum. You can see London's FTSE 100 and the Frankfurt DAX opening just in the green, while Paris's CAC 40 trading slightly down. In the red. Over in Asia, there was slightly more effect in early trading. Japan's Nikkei hit a 1 month low in trading, and the Hang Seng in Hong Kong also staying in the red, but fairly modest gains you can see across the rest of the Asian markets there.
A lot happening in the companies sector today.
Yeah, we're going to start with Vodafone, which has announced it's reached a deal to buy the Spanish cable operator Ono for €7.2 billion. The mobile phone operator announced the deal has been finalised this morning. Ono is Spain's second biggest provider of broadband, pay TV and home phone services. It's Vodafone's second major acquisition in 6 months after it bought a controlling stake in Germany's Kabel Deutschland. The Chinese e-commerce giant Alibaba has announced it's to float its shares on the stock exchange in the United States in what's expected to be the biggest launch since Facebook. The news came after months of speculation over where the firm would choose to list its shares. Alibaba sells some $150 billion worth of merchandise annually, more than eBay and Amazon combined. Shares in one of its major stakeholders, Japan's SoftBank, closed up almost 5% in Tokyo. Toyota says it suspended production at its 2 plants in India after efforts to resolve a dispute with workers there failed. The move will see more than 6,000 workers at the world's biggest car maker locked out of their factories near Bangalore. Toyota says it took the step after deliberate stoppages of the production line by staff and threatening of supervisors. And Guinness has pulled its sponsorship of the New York St. Patrick's Day Parade in a controversy over the exclusion of gay groups from the event. It follows a similar move by rival brewers Heineken and Sam Adams in Boston. Guinness's parent company Diageo says it had hoped the New York Parade's policy of excluding LGBT groups would be reversed before the event, but that it was left with no choice but to drop its sponsorship plans.
Now then, we're going to turn our attention to that missing Malaysian Airlines flight now. It's not going to help efforts to improve the company's finances, is it, Stephen?
No, the airline's already offered families of passengers $5,000 in compensation while the search for that missing plane continues. The company already suffering from a precarious financial position, though. Last year it lost around $360 million, according to its most recent results. Travel agents say passengers are now shying away from booking with Malaysian Airlines, despite its generally good safety record. Delano de Souza has more.
The disappearance of MH370 has thrown Malaysia Airlines into the spotlight. Even before the disappearance of the flight destined for Beijing, the airline was hemorrhaging money. The last time the company reported a profit was in 2010. Last month, the carrier reported losses of $360 million for 2013. And while industry watchers have criticized the way the airline has handled the crisis, Malaysia Airlines has stood by its record.
The captain in charge is a very seasoned pilot at Malaysia Airlines who has had a track record of excellent service. There have been absolutely no indications, as far as we are aware, that there was anything untoward in either his behavior or attitude.
Malaysia Airlines had hoped for a strategic tie-up with low-cost rival AirAsia in 2011. However, the deal was called off by AirAsia chief Tony Fernandes due to union resistance to reform. Analysts say the ongoing crisis will further hit the airline financially. They predict a drastic drop in bookings and a string of lawsuits, making the airline's hopes for a turnaround unlikely.
Now, finally, an upcoming investment that might excite you if you happen to be a fashion lover.
I don't know if you ever had to buy a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes as a
Not
gift
myself.
for anyone. That's not a hint or anything. The owner of the brand is said to be considered floating it on the stock market. The Swiss group Labelux bought Jimmy Choo in 2011 for more than €620 million, but sources say the flotation on the London market would value the company at almost twice that, at €1.2 billion. A pair of Jimmy Choo shoes, I looked this up this morning, cost around €400. No price, of course, for the shares yet, but you do wonder how many shares in the company you'd have to own to actually be able to afford to buy a pair of shoes.
I'm not wearing some. You know, I might be. You can't tell, can you? There's a desk. Stephen might
It's the
be.
magic of television.
We're lucky. We're lucky. Oliver Farry definitely is wearing them. He's here with the International Press Review. Ukraine, of course, is the big news, really, isn't it, Oliver?
Certainly. We're going to start with the Russian press. The former Soviet paper of record, Izvestia, which these days is still very much a pro-government organ, carries